But you like Unga Bunga.
Yeah, I like Unga Bunga, but I like Unga Bunga with a plan.
I remember Karma when I threw an insinuate, he just laughed out loud.
Oh, I didn't know that earlier.
Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Undefeated Takes, the only podcast that never leaves the path.
Woo! Let's go.
Yay!
Let's go. Let's go.
So, hi guys, welcome back to another episode. So, I'm Pat, and I'm joined by Ace,
Hello.
and I'm joined by Russell.
Hello.
So, boys, how was your first few matches for the Spring of Myths?
Please don't watch my matches.
Yeah.
Is it a batch of misplays?
Not really.
Uh, we'll have our listeners be the judge for that. But before we proceed to our main topic, so let us acknowledge first our followers. So first, for our Facebook comments, Ace.
First, we have Lawrence. Hyping up Benny the Goat. Very well-known player, not only in the UM League but also here in the Philippines. Next is James Panado. He actually asking for contact details of Benny. So I don't know
Hmm.
what kind of business he got with Benny, but Benny, I hope you reach out to James. Anyway, and from Mark Jerome, congratulating Benny for being with us. So thank you for the support.
From our Spotify comments. So, Ravins commented that he wanted Unmatched community to grow outside of Metro Manila. So, he also mentioned Unmatched Central for Central Zone, which is headed by Penny as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
nice. At least we know that Unmatched is still growing, not just in Manila, but in other parts of the Philippines.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes. And then for our Spotify poll winner, what do you think is the most interesting difference between local and international scene? Out of the three choices, the meta won. Our listeners are interested with the meta, the difference of Philippine meta versus the international meta. So we
Mm.
discussed that last episode. Next to our shoutouts, Russell.
Yeah, so we're gonna mention a few names. We met them during the last tournament in
Yep.
BGM.
Yep.
So, hi Neil, hi Bobs, good Fandex, and then
Yeah.
Jared. Hello. Finally, we
Hello,
finally got
hello.
to meet you. Hello.
So now, let's dive into our main topic for this episode, which is a very special episode. So Ace, can you introduce our very special guest?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let's start with that. As per the tradition of undefended takes, we're gonna glaze him to the max because he's a very special player and he's very well known not only in international but also here in the Philippines because of his tier list. Let's start. He's one of the best content creator when it comes to Unmatch. He's my go-to guy
Mm-hmm.
when I want a guide. He's also one of the best players in Unmatch, not in
Yeah.
the UM League. He's very well known actually. He's well known for being the little red believer actually.
Mm,
He's-
yeah.
also, I would like to also call him the Leshen lobbyist because he really puts Leshen like really at the top of the tier list. The
3 OP.
yeah, yeah. Is the one of the I think the founder of the ideas of the Unga Bunga. Yeah. He's very well known I think for the tier list and the contents that he makes in his YouTube account. Since I glaze you too much, I think you need to take in the next match if you ever get paired up or something. So let's give it up to Karma. Let's go.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I have a question actually. Are all those things I said correct? Especially the Leshen and the little red one?
I mean, I think it's not very subtle, but yeah, it might be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hashtag 3 OP.
That little red OP every time red wins.
Ah, yes,
I
I
always
love
knew
that.
it was you when I see that when I see those comments.
So as usual, right? We always ask each other, how did
Yeah.
we first meet our guest? How did we first get in contact with our guest? But now, maybe how did we first get to know our guest? Because of obviously we haven't met.
Mm.
So how did you guys know about Karma? Let's start with you, Patrick.
Same as Ace, as he said a while ago. I've known Karma from his YouTube, so
Mm-hmm.
the ever popular tier lists, and also his strategy Sundays. So I watched his Black Widow because I wanted to learn Black Widow back in the day,
So
and those tier lists and strategy Sundays are very helpful for players.
yeah,
New
definitely.
all the like.
How about you, Ace?
Yeah, same with actually before Karma there was this another content creator. It's Baked
Big
Goods.
good.
The
Yeah, big goods.
Baked Goods. But unfortunately he stopped creating some unmatched content. So I have to find another one that's as thorough as him. So then I
Yeah.
saw Karma's. I think it was by the time I saw his videos, there's only like two. I think it was Moon Knight or Tesla, then Red. I
Mhm.
think there's
Yeah,
only
his
two.
first was
But
red actually.
and I said, "Wow, he's really it's like he's going through every card, so it's really good for me for it."
Yeah.
So I subscribed. Then every time he has a video, I just like let's check it out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I
Mhm.
eventually match up with him when on the TMNT celebration, and that was our first match, and I got
Mhm.
demolished. That's it.
Is that true karma?
I wouldn't say demolish. He put up a very good fight.
Oh.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that to my grave.
I mean, the Bigfoot game was very close, wasn't it?
Yeah. How about you, Russell?
Yeah, so actually for me, I didn't get to know Karma through YouTube. Even
Okay.
before I got to see his videos. I was maybe a week or two since I started playing Unmatched. When I started playing Unmatched, a week or two after I discovered UM League. I'm not sure, Karma, if you remember this. I was actually playing with another player. I actually forgot who it was. But Karma joined because it's in the public Discord channel voice.
Okay, okay.
Karma joined just to watch. So I think I was playing Drac. I was playing against an Alice, if I remember correctly. And then as Drac, I kept on chasing Alice throughout the game. Alice was just double maneuvering away, and as Drac, as a new player, I kept on chasing Alice.
Okay.
I didn't go to the center. I never went to the center. So Karma kept on saying, "Why are you not going to the center? Just go to the center." So just a week or two after I started, I already got the concept of this map centers because of Karma. That's
You get
that's
schooled.
why it stuck to me. I'm not sure, Karma, if you remember that. It was a really long time ago. That was like 2024. So
I don't think I exactly remember the game, but I definitely remember yelling at you when we first
okay,
met.
that's good.
You got schooled.
yes, you were yelling at me.
That was a fun
It was so
story.
It was a
frustrated.
fun memory, but it actually really helped because knowing the center, right? It's very important.
Yeah,
So
it is.
Yeah.
it really stuck with me. So yeah, that was really helpful.
Imagine
Yeah,
being scolded by a by a top
yeah,
player early into your Unmatched career.
yeah. I didn't even know who Karma was, who he was back then. So it was just kind of surprising.
You're surprised someone is scolding you and yelling at you.
Yeah,
Go to the
I just
center.
started a week ago.
I'm so sorry. So, Karma, we have this usual questions to our guests in our podcast. So, how did you get into Unmatched?
You might not believe it, but one of my best friends in my friend group, who's also playing online here, Mr. G, actually got me
Okay.
into it when to one of our usual board game evenings. He just brought it, and I absolutely hated it. Let's be
Oh,
honest.
really?
Why? Why?
He brought Battle of Legends Volume 2, and I was playing as Wukong versus Achilles, and it was so damn easy, and I was like, nah, this game feels so bad. Like, poor guy, I don't want to play this. I really hated it. It was so uninteractive. Um, and then actually on like a month later or something, he brought it again, but like different sets. He just got the Houdini Genie set, I think, at the time when it was released. And then we got to play, and wow, it actually started being fun.
Oh,
Now,
who did you play as?
I played as Houdini when he came out.
Oh, that's why.
I know. It's a shame that I feel that
It's
fun.
a shame.
I know. It was quite interesting, and the thing that really just hooked me there was, okay, wait, I can make basically every character in this game, and that's also the exact same point when I started making fan decks, and that just solidified my love for
Mm.
the game because I found out a bit about all of these characters, about so many ways to make them work, how they play, and that just brought me into the game itself.
Actually, I see some of your fan decks in Restoration Discord. I can see that you have a channel, right? I think I see. I always see you on one of the channels. The fan deck play testing.
Yeah, I have a lot of them posted in the forum chat there, but I think recently I just stopped making a lot of them just because I've already made so many, and like I'm running out of ideas and out of characters that I really want to make decks for.
So you didn't get the chance to submit one to Restoration?
Nah, sadly I wasn't playing there yet, so I
Mm.
couldn't. If I could, I would have like 40-ish decks that are ready
Wow.
to test.
Oh,
Like-
that's a lot. Ready to go. 40.
So did you start creating fan decks even before you became competitive, or is the other way around?
Yes, I absolutely started making fan decks before. Like we had this fun competition in our group, like after that Houdini Genie game, where we were 3 people there, and we're like, okay, we'll just all make one deck and then free for all with our decks against each other.
Ah, okay, nice.
And it was absolutely horrendous,
No play
but it was
testing.
very fun.
Mm.
So yeah, I think really competitive I only started getting after like Summer of Legends 2023, where I just remember that in qualifiers I played against Baked Goods.
Mm.
And he played as Electra versus my Sinbad on Yukon. That was a very fun game.
Wow. Wow.
The
Very
older
fun.
Depends
And,
on your definition of fun, right?
Yeah, I was totally not being sarcastic there.
Oh.
But yeah, after that, I actually started paying attention to, okay, what am I actually doing here? And then when it started actually going.
Okay. Since we already know your history, and why don't we ask you a question that all people usually ask when it comes to like their favorite players? What is your favorite main or favorite hero to play? Like it could be different, like a hero that you like to play, but also that something that you're really confident in playing. I mean, we probably know the answer.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not really a secret. It has to be Red. Red is
Yeah.
my girl from the start. I instantly fell in love with her when I got to play her the first time, just because I'm a player. I like to be like actually thinking about stuff. I like to plan ahead. I like to use my brain while playing. So fighters
Yeah.
like T-Rex just didn't appeal to me at all.
but you like Unga Bunga.
Yeah, I like Unga Bunga, but I like Unga Bunga with a plan.
Okay.
Thinking Unga Bunga.
So yeah, that's why Red is like my favorite from the start, and she hasn't been beaten yet. There have been some that came close, but I don't think there will ever be a fighter that gets her.
So so for our main topic, for you, Karma, how did you get into Unmatched League? Or how did you discover or became the part of the community? And can you discuss about your team league team?
Yeah, well, for the first one, how I actually got into it, it's well, we already heard the name a couple of times in this podcast episode. It's Baked Goods. Baked
Yep.
Goods.
Oh,
Baked
wow.
Goods was
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason because yeah, at the time when I like started playing with my friends there, and like I got that Houdini Genie game, it was just like the set point, and I started getting intrigued. And I also looked up Unmatched on YouTube, and I saw some strategy videos by Baked Goods.
Nice,
And
nice.
in the video description, there was a wonderful link to a Discord server called League. And yeah, that got me in. When it comes to Theta, Theta has one of the wildest team histories, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard
Yeah.
from Benny.
I heard from Benny. Like you're the loud ones.
Well, for the start, at the start, Theta wasn't even Theta. At the first Team League season, where I was a part, and I was in a team with like a lot of the Ukrainian players, like Manzana and Fairy and others that I think stopped playing by now. And Glebs was still there, so that was cool. But after our first season, they decided to make their own Ukrainian team. So I was left there with Glebs, and we are like, okay, what do we do now? We're like, okay, let's just start our own team. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
And that's when Theta actually started existing. It was really interesting, just like seeing, okay, what players do we actually get there? Because of course we didn't know anyone. Like none of the guys that were asking, okay, like Luca started asking, and No Jumper started asking. Benny asked. And yeah, we were just like, okay, yeah, let's go. Sure, what could go wrong? From that point, like it was just like, okay, now we're all in a team. What now? It was like this really awkward
do we
phase
do?
at the start. Well, like, we started checking our vibes. I feel like the first season went by quite easily. Like
Okay.
there was no big drama. There was nothing really insane. until at some point, our team
Oh.
captain, No Jumpers, got banned from UM League.
Oh, is that
Well-
Mike? So Benny actually told us this episode will air after Benny's episode. So Benny told us last episode that someone get banned from UM League. So is that the person?
Yeah, it was our team captain, No Jumpers. And since we were like, oh, what do we do? Because it was like mid-season at the end. So we're like, okay, wait, who does captain now? Who does? No one had time. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
So you're the captain now.
It had become a really fun dynamic up to that point, like staying awake later to like 4 a.m., like discussing assignments and drafts, and
Mhm.
just like
Yeah.
we're probably the most unhinged team in all of Unmatched, and I don't think anyone comes close.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you only have to open Theta chat for 2 minutes, and you'll probably find something that will get us banned.
Now I wanna join their team league.
Yeah. Actually, the three of us are part of the same team in the team league.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're part of Sinigang Gang.
yeah.
We were
I
trying
mean,
to actually poach Benny the last time, right?
yeah. But he was
But
loyal.
yeah.
Like, we can pirate him.
He said he was actually close and friends with Tita Nigram, so yeah, he didn't leave, which was
My boy,
which was
that's the
actually
goat.
what I
The
wanted
goat.
to ask.
The goat, yeah.
So actually for the people, so since you described how it started, basically you only got to be friends with each other through Team League, right? Not like before that or outside of UM League.
It was
That's
basically only through Team League at the start. Like I said, Glebs I
Mhm.
already knew for the first season.
Mhm.
But then the others, only through Team League. I got to
Mm.
meet a couple of them, like Luca and Glebs, at Cobble and Frogs. That was a
Mm.
very pleasant time. Like, we've really grown to each other.
Yeah.
Outside of Team League, we didn't really have contact at all at the start, so we had no clue who we were stepping up to and like looking at when we joined the team chat. And we're like really just confused at what to do.
Mm.
For Karma
Yeah.
again, let's move on.
Right.
My question is, what do you think of the main differences of the international community and PH community? I don't know if you have any exposure to the meta of the Philippines, but usually we have this weird stuff going on in our meta. Like Siri usually gets played. Not usually Siri is let through, so she didn't get usually banned. Or Yennefer is much more banned than Siri. What do you think of those things that happens? And usually no reds, and only few red enjoyers here in the Philippines actually.
For the start, that's a shame. You're missing out. You're missing out. Let me tell you. But for the Siri part, yeah, I've also seen like that thing happen a lot of times with like different communities. The Russian community was a big example of that as well, where I think around the time when TTA came out, the Russian servers started getting bigger and bigger, and they also discovered their own meta because they were also hosting tournaments there, and they like lowered Yenenga by like 2-3 tiers in their minds,
Wow.
and yeah, I think they put her at B plus at some point.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and I find it like really interesting to see how different play groups approach Unmatched, because
Yeah.
from what I've seen, Russians usually were just in the full aggro camp, so like value fighters like Yen didn't really scale good, and that's like they love Tesla. We on UM League are usually like the trendsetters of value. Like we love to play value and long fatigue games. So that's why we also enjoy Syria a lot. But whereas if you were rather interested in a tempo game or something, then I can definitely see why Yennefer is getting banned a lot more. And like even this last tournament with Winter of Champions with the curated roster,
Yeah.
I think I've seen way more series let through than Yennefer's.
Yes.
Way more.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I think it was another idea that Siri is much more vulnerable like early game. Also in here in our tournament in the Philippine setting, that fatigue fighters are not that much of a, or value fighters are not much that valuable because of the time limit, the time
Yeah.
constraints. I think, yeah.
It's usually
So
our
the
ultimates.
yeah, the 40-minute timers are really hurting the fatigue fighters. And yeah, I think the Unga Bunga ones are the much more preferred fighters by the Filipinos here. So if you see series being let through, I think it's a Filipino player.
I I mean, I can definitely see it because like the thing with Siri in comparison to Yennefer is that like her counterplay is quite consistent. Like there's
Yeah.
not much she can do if you just slap her big early,
Yep.
right? If you
Yeah.
go like Alice big or first early and
Mhm.
pin her and just harass her, there's not
Yeah.
much she can do about it. Whereas Yennefer technically has the same weakness of aggression,
Mhm.
but she is one that could also just instantly nuke your hand with 2/7s.
Yep.
Or go for a combo turn with portals into 7s, or just boost away echoings the whole time.
Mhm.
So I feel like she has a lot more answers to your counterplay, whereas the plan against Siri usually stays the same, and there's not
Mhm.
much you can do about it. So I think people have an easier time going against Siri early because they know what to expect, and Yennefer is kind of like this wild card that can just pop up out of nowhere.
Mhm. True. That's actually true. Yeah. It's good that we were able to put it into words because it's actually what happens here. Yeah, aside from those meta differences, right? So we'll go to the tier list. So you weren't able to submit, unfortunately, to montage
Montage.
community tier list. But
Yeah.
when we put your tier list side by side, it's actually very similar to the community tier
Yep.
list. Maybe the
Yeah.
first 15 or 16, except for Leshen, they're the same
Yeah.
heroes. So, so yeah, what do you think about the newly released community tier list? What are your thoughts about it?
I think it was very, very accurate. Like, I already said this before, but like my previous tier list was like the calmest, least hot take tier list I've ever made.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at this point, a lot of my hot takes have either dialed down or the community started to agreeing. So
Maybe the second part, right?
yeah.
Sounds
Um,
better.
I think that is definitely nice to see. I can also definitely see like the influence that Song of Legends had on the aggregated tier list now, with fighters like Yennefer and Blackbeard being rated a lot higher than previously. Also, when I look at my last list, it was really interesting to see. I also feel like that the placements of like Raph, Shredder, and overall just TMNT have kind of really settled in where I feel like they kind of belong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your previous Leo's placing was very confusing.
I mean, I'll still die on that hill. That's like on launch, Shredder. It was the scariest thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen. And
Shredder was really
the
high
thing,
up back then.
yeah,
Yes.
and the point kind of still stands, whereas he still has that kind of out of nowhere pop off potential, just like Houdini or like Yennefer or something.
Mhm.
Where
Yeah.
if he draws good, there's nothing you can do. But the good thing is he doesn't draw good, so
Yeah.
Couldn't drop for his life.
yeah.
They just really
I think
pressure
that's.
him.
I feel like that's also like the biggest difference that I usually have into community tier lists, where I usually rate fighters like Luke, Winter Soldier, Rex
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot lower,
Yeah.
just due to consistency.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
feel like I didn't really see that with Shredder at the start. I just
Mhm.
saw the okay, yeah, you have 2 cards and you win the game.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
that's
actually,
probably the biggest difference with my lists and other lists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, when you released your first impression for TMNT, we were watching your Shredder, how you berated Shredder and the creator of Shredder.
Yeah.
How did someone make that something so good? But now the community figured out
Yeah.
how to beat Shredder.
I think
I,
Karma also said that he thinks Shredder would be permanently banned when
Yeah.
his first initial thoughts, right?
Yeah, definitely was at the start. Makes
Mhm.
sense that over time, like people find out more threats to a character and how to approach them. But I really was very sure that at the start, when people didn't
Yeah.
really play against him yet, he would be permabanned.
If you get victimized by the combo turn of Shredder, I think you would also think that he should be banned permanently also.
Yeah, imagine having 10 action turns, right? Yeah, so just wanted to quickly ask still about the tier list, right? The main difference, which is Leshen. So you rated Leshen on the upper half of A plus, but the community rated Leshen on the bottom of A minus. So what do you think Leshen has that warrants him to be on the top of A plus?
I would say Leshen is one of, if not the best counter pick fighter into almost every single top tier. The problem with Leshen emerges if you go deeper into the draft, because he really fumbles against a lot of the lower tiered fighters. The thing about Leshen is he can basically outvalue every single fighter in the game. And the problem about that is if you cannot value someone, they'll have to approach you. Against Leshen with a +3 ability, that sounds scary, and it certainly is. But that's where people like to say, okay, yeah, you only have 9 defenses and stuff. So I think the most common misconception in like playing Leshen is playing him slow. Which, to be fair, he is a move 1 fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense. You only have 9 defenses, so you are scared. But I feel like Leshen and almost every fighter that is like a bit more scared to die plays best when they are aggressing. Like that's also the reason why Raptors work even with 10 defenses, or Rex.
Yeah.
Sure, Leshen doesn't have that insane pressure as they do, but he can, right? He has a lot of draws. He can consistently smack you for 4s and 5s from ranged. Whenever you approach him, there is the threat of the +3. So I feel like people just have to be more encouraged to actually be the aggressor, to actually set the tempo with Leshen, because that's what he does incredibly well, right? You basically always control who engages when. Because the opponent cannot just say, okay, yeah, I want to aggress you now, because then they just get slapped for +3. They cannot do that. You are the one controlling, okay, when do they get to attack? When do they have to run away? When are they scared?
Yeah, I remember your guide onto Leshen. Like
Leshen.
you just go aggro and like the threat of +3 will keep them at bay. Then I tried him in the tournament, then I just lost. Then I did not touch him ever again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good. I will try it again.
No, that's the reason why I've played Lesson recently, right? You remember that I always pick Lesson. It's because I've saved the video of Karma's Lesson Strategy Sunday. So I would remember how to play Lesson in his way. So he just said that be the aggressor in the matchup. And
That
yeah,
makes sense
because
now.
yeah.
When we were
That's-
practicing, I think you were overly aggressive though. That's why.
yeah.
I think Karma's ability to convince us to play Leshen is a one thing, but Karma's ability to play Leshen is
Yeah, it's
different from
totally
us.
different thing.
That's why we're not getting the success rate that he has.
That's true. Actually, yeah, still have a couple of more questions for you, so we'll just go through them. So yeah, I'm sure you've played with some Filipino players. I'm not sure if you knew they were Filipino, but like, what's your general experience fighting against them? The general vibe, or even the play style?
They are some of the most chill lads I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
you've played with Russell and Ace, right? So
Yeah,
are they
and of course
chill?
Benny. I also play with Monty, of course, a lot. Usually in tournaments there's like this tense atmosphere when playing. I just played my Spring of Myths game yesterday, and I was like, okay, we were sitting there for 2 hours and just like basically being silent the whole time, except for, okay, yeah, I maneuver. We're just thinking and thinking. Whereas whenever I play with like one of you or Benny or Monte or anyone, it was always this kind of chill atmosphere. We're just vibing and just like talking a lot to each other and just having a good time playing the game. And that was
Yeah.
way better, way better.
Oh.
So
you
I
should
love to play with you.
Yeah, you should
Nice to
play with
hear
us
that.
more.
Yeah. I
should play
remember
with us
our
more.
Little Red versus Yennefer game where I just threw a random incinerate and he just threw a mouth at me. Oh my!
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
I remember Karma when I threw an incinerate, he just laughed out loud.
I mean, I
into
was
the mouth.
expecting that. I was like, okay, yeah, I have Pelt on top. Like, surely he won't throw a 7, but like, I'll take any damage that I could get, and then I see a 7. I'm like, oh.
Pretty good.
GG's. That's cool. That's cool.
Was that an early game? So that, or
Yeah,
is
that
it
was like
in
turn
the-
Yeah, it was turn 2 or
Two.
something. Like, it was on Venice. Like, I started double maneuvering into center. He double maneuvered away. I think I attacked with Huntsman or something, and then maneuvered. And then he attacked me for a second with 7 when I had Pelt on top.
Did you did you just admit your defeat then, Russell?
Yeah,
After
I did.
that interaction? Okay,
7.
GG.
It was already GG.
Okay, so I guess we are all chill people here.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear that we are like chill people because sometimes we get ultra competitive here.
Yeah,
in our
actually.
competition scene here in local tournaments. Yeah. Anyway, the next question. What are the most significant changes in Unmatched that you have observed through time? Like the evolution of the game through designing or like hero construction or drafting. What do you think of the changes?
I feel like one of the biggest changes that a lot of the community has already addressed, like in some kind of case, is this feeling of power creep.
Okay.
I think like that already went through the mind of almost everyone,
Mhm.
but I
Yep.
feel like it doesn't really apply.
Mhm.
Let me explain why. At the start of the game, when Unmatched came out, there was like this big mystery of okay, like what is actually good. Like first metas began to revolve around Robin Hood. I still remember being very high in Zero's tier list. Bigfoot, of course, also still there. Red being kind of low, Simba being kind of low, Alice higher rated. And it was just like this weird state of, okay, what actually do we have to do to win? And I think over time, mostly players and Restoration also found out, like, okay, what are the general strats in Unmatched? So they started designing characters more around specific strategies, like designing She-Hulk just to be a pure fatigue fighter, or Tesla being like mostly aggressive based, or Jill being a mostly value fighter. So they started playing with that. And I feel like at that point also like the community had this overall general idea of okay, we kind of already know if someone will be good or not once they come out. Pure placement will still be determined, but like there's always been this sense of okay, yeah, I know this character will be somewhat good. I know this character will be somewhat bad. I think Restoration kind of started to throw us off with that. They made us overconfident because what they've done is, of course, implementing more and more complex abilities, right? Because like at the start it was very simple, very dialed down. Medusa just pinging for one, Alice having +2 or +1, Sinbad just having more movement. It was like the core of Unmatched was very simple, and it still is, and that's the wonderful part. But the abilities just get weirder and weirder and weirder, and that
Yes.
of course also makes it like harder to play around. And with more powerful abilities, you will get better characters. But I feel like we've had like hit like this golden age where in almost every set there is some kind of good or very good
Yeah.
fighter.
Yep.
Where
Mm.
there is none real OP one anymore. Even the likes of Blackbeard or Siri that came out, they're definitely insanely strong. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but they're
Yeah.
not on that level of okay, you just cannot play the game anymore. Basically, the cycle of like Unmatched also kind of resembles the fight is a cycle of the Unmatched players. I like to say it. I feel like every Unmatched player goes in the same direction. We start out of all clueless, just like hitting the opponent, mostly
Yeah.
going unga bunga. That's
Uh-uh.
also what it was back then. Then we discover, okay, wait, there's more. There's sauce, right? We can do other things. I feel like every Unmatched player has that where they start off just like slapping and not really
Yes.
thinking about a lot.
Yep.
And then they start digging deeper and the value brain activates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we all just play, okay, yeah, we'll just play long. I'll just get to play my cards. It's more about consistency. And then after that is what I would say really like gets the good players out, the ones that have a fundamental understanding, but not the total picture, is when to know to fall back to the Unga Bunga. Knowing when you can actually take risks, when to like derive from that value. Because the value, of course, is like the big thing in a match. Almost every single character now has insane value game just to keep up. Washington now with the insane amount of discards, Henry with
Yeah.
the insane values and attacks.
Yeah.
Blackbeard, of course, we don't have to talk about. Loki technically also has a mean value game if you recur tricks. So I feel like this aspect of value has been weaved into almost every fighter. There's like no just pure Unga Bunga fighter anymore. Even like the likes of Chupa can be played in a very value-like way. I feel like that's also like where the design philosophy of Unmatched went, where okay, we have these fighters that can play a value-ish game, but they really start to excel once you start like filling the gaps with the Unga Bunga, just hitting a lot.
Yes, I think there was some player in the UM League that created a meme about that. Like at first you're like a caveman, like Unga Bunga is good. Then as you evolve, there's like this I must play value, big brain mode. And then as you go along, as you evolve, you finally go to the caveman with a big brain again.
Yeah.
Unga Bunga but
Exactly.
calculated.
Yeah. It's actually I also like your point about the power creeping. So we can actually see cards where when you compare them side by side, it's
Yeah.
actually power crept. But if you take the context of the whole fighter as a whole, it's actually not that like big. Like for example, Wyatt's cancel, right? It's any cancel, and then you get to look at the top card, and then you can put it at the bottom of the deck. But that's power creep if you just
Yeah.
take them side by side. But on Wyatt's deck, Wyatt's really not that bulky, right? He's very easy to kill. So maybe he really needs that buff for his cancel. And I like how Karma described it. Plus, sometimes we think that something is being power crept, but it's not really,
It's not.
right?
Yeah.
Because you have to consider all the matchups, you have to consider everything
deck
else.
itself.
There's a lot of factors to consider.
I feel like the main part of the set power creep is not really in raw ability, but in utility. Whereas fighters tend to not stick to a single game plan anymore, like it was before with the likes
yeah.
of She-Hulk or something. If we take Siri for an example, because we already talked about her a lot, Siri can play like 70 different games.
Yes.
Yes.
And
I love
that's
her.
like what makes her so strong. We also have like the likes of Yennefer who can play very, very different. Leshen can play very different. Blackbeard can play very different. Like there's always this utility option, whereas, okay, the cards themselves are minor upgrades to previous cards, but not in just like base value or something, but in like the potential in playmaking that you can do.
Like the earlier characters that
Yeah.
you just attack, or like Invisible Man that doesn't have any raw power.
Yeah.
He just needs to fatigue you. So for our next question, since you told us earlier that you design plenty of characters of your fan decks, who is your favorite character out of the bunch?
That is a very hard question.
Yeah.
That is an
It's
insanely
like
hard
choosing.
question.
It's like choosing your favorite child. It's your favorite child.
That is a problem when you're making fan decks, is of course kind of make them in a way where you like them, right? I usually tend to design characters that fit my type of playstyle with that utility and value, but some aggression weaved into them if the situation arrives. So I feel like I don't really have any favorite child, but
Okay.
if I would have to say one like IP or overall theme that I would like to see decks being made to, I think it would have to be. Oh, this is really different.
Yeah,
It's very difficult.
you're taking too long. I love it.
Go on.
Really hard for him.
I think I'd go with either more video game IPs or anime, because both of them are like big
Ooh,
components that I
fellow
think we
league.
haven't touched on.
You're
Yeah,
a fellow.
like the good thing about when you make anime decks, for example, because I made like a quadrillion of them, anime characters come with such defined set of powers that
Yes.
just like the ideas of like translating them into Unmatched is so cool.
Yep.
You don't really have to invent something about their playstyle. They already have a kind of playstyle that you can recreate, and it's like
Yep.
very flashy and usually like out of the norm. You won't have, okay, yeah, I just draw cards, or okay, yeah, I just maneuver a lot. Like usually they have some very defined gimmicks. That's really cool. And as to video game characters, I feel like kind of the same logic applies. Whereas, okay, now we've seen a lot of Witcher characters now being implemented, which are also, of course, from a book, but I think a lot of us also just knew them from the games.
Through the game, yeah.
And like their play styles also kind of like mimic them. I feel like those are IPs that we could like more delve into, whereas now previously like we had a lot of like TV series or movies being translated, but I feel like there's just so much more potential.
So much. There's so many anime characters.
Yep.
You can think of like just say one name right now. You can probably create a fan deck out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just if you take one anime IP, like one of the popular ones, like I don't know, Naruto or something, or One Piece, you could make like 5, 6, 7,
Sets.
8, 10, 12, 20 sets out of them.
Yes. Yep.
Well, you can do that.
Definitely.
And it's just like the potential is insane.
But would you think it would be a future possibility, or it's not really maybe part of Resto's plan?
The problem with anime is licensing. Licensing
Yeah.
is hard.
Yeah.
If somehow they do manage to get a collab, I just jump out of my seat and I just surrender and pray
Give
to
them all
them as
your
my
money.
new god.
Yeah.
Also, the coolest thing about anime decks, in my opinion, would also like the freedom of art style. Like
Yes,
most
yeah.
anime
yeah.
and manga have like such a unique way of drawing and like animating and
Illustrating them,
overall
yeah.
showcasing something. That in the talented hands of like the Unmatched art guys, Holy crap! I'd be so excited for that.
Okay. So during Winter of Champions, right? You stream some games. Are you also planning to stream games in Spring of Myths, or are you just going to play or focus on playing?
It depends a lot because I mean it's open knowledge that I got a small little warning for my streams in Winter of Champions because I tend to be very vocal about my opinion on some plays.
It's passionate. You're just passionate.
Yeah, and my thing with that is okay. When I am asked to stream or commentate a game, that
Yeah.
usually tells me okay they want me to give like insights on what I would think is like good in there and whatnot. And if I see a potentially bad play, I'll point that out.
Yeah.
And if I see a potentially good play, I'll also like be like, "Holy, this is cinema!"
Yeah.
And like, I feel like this overall just neutral manner that we've seen in like the likes of Darkblade streams or something is not really something for me. I'm a very emotional guy, and I like to exaggerate a lot.
Yeah.
And I like to make very sarcastic jokes in between.
Yeah.
So like from that point on, I felt like I had to hold myself back a bit. I don't know if that's really what I want to do. The good thing, like about YouTube videos and stuff, is and after okay, it's my channel. I can just do what I want. Usually.
Yes.
But here, like just like seeing the controversy that's sport just out of that one tiny thing where okay, well, I don't know if that's I don't know if I want to stream games if I can't pay me.
Mm.
If you get what I mean.
Yep, got it. Yeah.
So I'll mostly probably play, but like if I'm invited to like commentate something, I think I'll jump on just because like as a commentator you have an easier time like as a co-commentator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's
there's
true.
someone else who's doing the main work and you'll just jump in for a few
Just talk.
jabs.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
mainstreaming something probably not except if it's like openly asked from the player and I get permission from that and stuff and like I don't get yelled at by the team.
Got it. Yeah. I actually watched that particular game you're talking about.
What game was that?
I was there
What game was
during
that?
I mean, it for me it was like the most fun time I've ever had. Like watching a streamer commentating a game or watching a game overall, it was so fun. Also, like interacting with the chat there because they also seem to really love it. And it was just like such a blast. I had so much fun, and then after that, I saw like the messages, and I'm like, okay.
Oh no.
What did I do wrong? Actually,
Actually, yeah.
you commentated one of the Filipino guys last Winter of Champions. Yeah.
Scamberdy, yeah.
You were demolishing him in your commentating. Then after a while, someone remembered that it's his yeah that he's very anxious because he know that the game is already streamed. So he's very nervous. Then
Yeah.
you were like, "Oh, I didn't know that earlier. I'm sorry."
Actually, now that you said that, like, I think Karma should commentate on Patrick's next matchup since
No.
Yes.
whenever
Why do we
he's
do that?
yeah, his performance anxiety whenever it's streamed. Like,
Yeah, I don't want my
Yes.
games to be streamed.
I mean, if you
It's
don't
so
want it to be
relatable.
streamed, like I can't just record it and like just send you my commentary and stuff, and no one
No.
else will see it. I'll just give you a link. And like you don't have the pressure of it being streamed. Like no one else except me can see it, and like I'm the only one trash talking you, so don't worry about it.
then you can
know.
upload it. Anyway,
Anyway.
since we talk about the Spring of Myths, what are your thoughts on the roster of the Spring of Myths? Do you have any hot take about that or anything?
I mean, I only played one game out of it yet. I didn't even practice anything before, so I just went in blind there, and it's of course very interesting because it's the first time that we see Stars and Stripes now
Yeah.
in a roster. So I have no clue how they will perform there, but just like this mostly OG roster with like earlier characters weaved into with the very new ones is quite interesting because we have the old powerhouses of like Yenenga, Medusa, Bigfoot in there, and then we just have like the new characters in there and like some Marvel IPs. It's like this interesting mix of okay, you have like a lot of top tiers that kind of play in the same area, with like Yen, Duza, Bigfoot, Houdini is in there. And like after that, it's just like, okay, we don't really have a plan anymore. Like
Yeah.
if this format was in Arsenal, for example, just like Winter of Champions was, I think it would get to some of the wildest drafts ever.
Yeah. Agree.
Because like after the first couple of picks, or like if those are banned, there's like no real best way to do.
Yeah.
At least I feel like that, and I
Yeah.
really like that because it just
Oh.
like gives you a lot more of a diverse experience in the tournament. Now,
Mhm.
if it was Arsenal, I would criticize that a lot because
Mhm.
you cannot react. You just have to gamble and hope that you're lucky. With this format, where you take turns picking, or like it's a snake draft, it's like way more interesting because there's a lot of strategy to it, and like banning out fighters that you like that counter some of your picks, or you ban out fighters just as a distraction to make the opponent pick certain characters.
Yes.
And it's very interesting. I really love the format itself in combination with the roster because it feels just so diverse. After the first couple of picks are gone, there's like no real optimal way to do. Like all of them feel kind of valid. Like my opponent, for example, we banned out like the top tiers with Yen, Duza, Bigfoot. No, not Yen. We banned Duza, Bigfoot, Rex, Houdini, Henry, and someone else. And it was just okay. He went Wyatt first pick, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Then he went Loki second, and I'm like, okay,
Oh.
I should be able to counter this, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, okay. It was like, okay, it is like lower-ish characters that are like not the first ones that you jump to, but they were valid.
Yeah, but
It
you have
was-
you have
It
to
was
react.
valid picks.
That means it's a healthy roster, right? If that's happening. If you just
Yeah.
pick a random low tier, mid tier character, and then your opponent has to
Okay,
react
six.
and just not
Yeah.
pick a random high tier character.
For our last question, somewhat serious note. If you can give one piece of advice to people who want to get better, what would it be?
Pick red.
Either that or pick lesson. Yeah. Now, I think the most important advice I can give to any unmatched player that's starting to learn the game is have a plan.
Okay.
I feel like many people just go into the game and either play on autopilot with how they usually play the fighter, or they just go, okay, I'll see what happens. I usually always advise, look at your opponent's deck, look at your deck, get a plan. What do you want to do? What are like some interactions you want to avoid? What are some that you want to get? And how can you force them in some kind of way? Or like make it more possible for them to be forced. And that's like, it kind of makes or breaks a character. Because if you just play one character on autopilot, it won't work, usually. And of course, that plan can differ throughout a game. Like, it can change
Yeah.
depending on interactions. But
Yep.
just trying to think about, okay, what do I actually want to do? That helps you a lot. Even if you lose or if your plan is wrong.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had a plan and you see why it didn't work. And that just helps you a lot for your future games.
Yeah. Just don't randomly throw stuff
Seven.
during the match. At least have some reasoning behind it.
Mm,
Sorry, you just remember my last match, but never mind.
yeah, I was about to ask Karma of that. Did you watch Beefsteaks Springs of Myths
Last-
match?
Please don't.
Didn't, sadly,
Please
I
don't.
didn't. Should I go
It's on
back and like
montage.
look at the
Yes.
bot on Twitch?
Yes, please, yes, please.
It's in the
Okay.
market.
Send me the link after. Send me the link after.
Everyone in the chat, including us in commentating, we were very, very, very questioning what's happening in the match.
Yeah, we're about to disown him.
We were about to be a two-piece podcast already after that. Once you won.
Because I had a plan. That's the point.
Oh, really?
I had a plan.
You're throwing stuff hoping it sticks.
That was the plan.
Just let us know what can you say about the match, Karma, after you have watched it.
I will certainly.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah,
All right.
okay, that was a fun conversation. Yeah. So let's now proceed to our next segment, our hero of the day.
Let's go.
So
That's it.
Ace, who is our hero of the day?
I mean, since Karma is our guest, I think we already know who's gonna be the hero of the day. Like,
Yeah.
there's no suspense. We're gonna go with the beloved Little Red of Karma. Let's start first with ability. Little Red's ability is resolve an effect on a card you play if the symbol next to the effect matches them in your basket. At the start of the game, place Little Red's basket in your discard pile. So Little Red's discard pile starts with a wild symbol. There's this symbol game that you have to play with Little Red so that some strong effects would trigger. So that's basically your mini game as Little Red. Let's look at this, her stats. First, he has they have moved to both Little Red and Huntsman. Not much of a coverage, I guess. I guess it's fine that they're both two. They're
Huntsman's
two
range,
heroes. Yeah, Huntsman's range, which helps the board coverage. Little Red has 14 HP. A little bit low, but they have a lot of healing, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
It covers the low HP. Huntsman has 9 HP, very beefy. I think it's highest beside tie with Wiglaf, same box.
Yep. Yep.
So it's a very beefy sidekick. Also range covers a lot of board. So with this, let's look at some of his cards. He has 12 cards, so very consistent in a way. When it comes to strengths and weaknesses, let's go first with our guest. Why don't you give us with one strength and one weakness, Karma?
I mean, the strength has to be her utility, right? You have so many very powerful effects where you can play for a lot of different things. You have an insane amount of auto damage.
Yeah.
You have a lot of just printed force. You technically have a lot of discard. You have a decent amount of recursion with hands. And just also very big attacks with sixes. So there's almost always something you can do in any matchup. Like even if it's
Yeah.
very, very unfavored, you have a chance just due to how strong your effects are, and that's like very nice. When it comes to like weaknesses, the main one is of course pressure, right? Consistent pressure overall might force you to play suboptimally. And that's
Yes.
like played around the character where if you get a perfect Little Red game and you just get to play each card how you like them to be played, you will usually win. So just like getting counter pressured, knowing when to sacrifice what effects will be quite interesting and like most important for you as a red player. Because if maybe a genie comes in and like 3 action gains you every turn and just keeps slapping, you will not get every effect.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Mhm.
So that is definitely her weakness. How to make that work? Also, like some during combat discard effects,
Yeah.
or like overall discarding your cards, or messing with your deck order. It can hurt you a lot because, of course, you're very reliant on when you have what symbol.
Yep.
So
Yep.
any way of disrupting that, either through big pressure, so just harassing you a lot, or discarding, or removing cards from deck or something, will hurt you a lot. A lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Russell?
So
Any
actually, yeah.
strength or
Basically, Karma covered most of those strengths and
Yeah.
weaknesses, right? It's
Yeah.
Little Red's really versatile. He talked about the auto damages and the sixes, but I guess one strength I would like to point out is Huntsman. Since you mentioned earlier, he's one of the beefiest sidekick in the game, LeBron James. um, so some matchups, Huntsman is really like one of the key factors in that game. So for example, like let's say Tesla, for example. So Tesla can be it's really hard for Tesla to fight against Huntsman because number one, Huntsman has sixes. Tesla's highest attacks four. I mean defense is a printed four.
Yeah.
And then Huntsman can also make use of stones in the belly, even offensively. And we know Tesla has like some high boost values, right? So he's pretty scared of Huntsman. Basically, Huntsman is the hero in that matchup sometimes. And then weakness, Karma also mentioned the reliant on the symbols because if you can disrupt those symbols, Little Red could just crumble. Like for example, if you keep on pressuring her, Little Red is forced to use defenses where when it's an off symbol defense. So the effect doesn't trigger, you lose a lot of value, and then it just goes downhill from there. So yeah,
Patrick, do you have any strength or weakness for Little Red?
Yeah, I just would just like to piggyback what Karma said. Actually, I'll just cover my favorite card in Red's deck. It's the large hands you have. So
Mm.
because you can recur that multiple times as long as it doesn't get cancelled, which
Mm.
is the main weak for me. The main weakness for Red is cancel. Since if you want to trigger one of your abilities, then it would be against a cancel. So that's the thing that she doesn't like for me.
I guess for me, I think my strength and weakness is both like intertwined. I guess like I think the idea of Huntsman is really interesting. There's some matchup that you need him a lot. Like I mean,
Yeah.
most of the matchups you need him a lot, like to throw the sixes
Mhm.
and the heals
The
most of the
heals.
time. Yeah, the heals are really the thing that you want to use before he dies. So that's why you want to keep him alive. And also, there's a time that you don't. That there's times that Huntsman is also like a liability. Like he only blocks for two if you don't have the knife symbol. So there are
Mm.
times like you could farm some effects from him, and he
Mhm.
doesn't have a cancel. Like in the She-Hulk matchup, like you just if it doesn't if the symbol is not knives, you just go around and smack him with an Omega, and you're fine with it.
Yeah.
I think I tried that matchup and it's very depressing as Little Red there. That's the thing of about Huntsman. You want him to keep him alive, but sometimes you need to hide him because of the no cancel. So I think we already have our strengths and weaknesses covered. Let's go with
Mm,
the placement of the tier for Little Red on
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, the most recent montage tier list. Right now, he's placed in A minus, behind Sinbad and above Tomoe. What do you think is the placement? Is it fine placement for Red, or could she go higher or lower? What
Mhm.
do you think? Let's go with Karma first.
I think she's kind of fitting where she is at right now. I feel like the recent sets, with some of Witcher and Battle of Legends Volume 3 and TMNT hurt her a bit. We've seen the likes of Eredin and Geralt really hard shutting her down, even Leshen. She has some okay matchups into Ciri. She's good at Yennefer, but that's kind of it out of those. Then Loki is not that great. Blackbeard is not great, which are like very often played right now. And now into TMNT. Okay, she has an insanely incredible 3-win matchup into Donnie. That is like the one
Mm.
thing she has.
Oh.
Against both Shredder and Krang, she
Mhm.
kinda just crumbles, which
Mm.
again is quite sad. Because the matchups where she does good in are not that often played, right? Even though
Mm.
Donnie is quite strong, I've not seen that many people pick him up just because of how complicated he is.
Yep.
Mikey, also one where Red is really good in. He's just not played that often. We've seen this like burst of utility that we already talked about. And since Red's main strength was her utility, since more fighters can match that, more fighters will be good against her. So I feel like she'll always stay around the A tier at some point, but I definitely can see the reasoning for her dropping a bit now, especially with like the resurgence of Sinbad and Raptors in the meta,
yeah,
which have
yeah,
become
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
better. So yeah, I think it makes sense where she's at right now. It's just not her place right now. We'll see if like she's particularly good into Stars and Stripes or like future sets,
Mhm.
because we'll have that factor of like, okay, she might just annihilate one of the fighters.
Okay, so since we kind of hinted on the matchups of Little Red, let's go with the matchups. Let's start with Karma.
I picked one of the even matchups, which is
mm,
one of the characters that we also already talked about today, which is Chupa. Because I feel like
mm,
the Chupa matchup really just puts together all the things Red can do. Because of course, Chupa as a fighter himself is someone who loves to be at lower health, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
He loves to be at 7 or lower just to get his action gain, to get his fives,
yeah,
just to be a lot more scary. But that's where Red's insane amount of defensive auto effects come in, because Chupa cannot
mm,
really afford to go low himself a lot. Because if he does, and he doesn't just rush you down in 1 second, he will probably die first, even if he attacks with something like a feeding combo into some kind of once upon defense.
Mhm.
mm,
Yeah, he will suffer a lot more from that than you will. So
Yeah.
it kind of
yeah. I
becomes
see.
this very interesting dance of how to play around Chupa's HP, because you as Red, of course, also don't want to drive him low on your own terms, with too much auto, because if he doesn't take self-damage himself and you only do it with your effect, he has a lot of healing that's quite consistent. Something like Offensive Ravenous with healing 2 into Huntsman is quite annoying for you. So it becomes this really interesting play around his health where,
Mhm.
okay, he wants to stay kind of high, but also kind of not because he wants to play his effects. Whereas you, as red, want him to stay high, but also not because you don't get to play your cards. And the topic of Huntsman in that matchup is also very interesting because we already talked about it earlier
Mhm.
with his importance. And there are a lot of matchups like this one, especially against like solo aggressive fighters, where Huntsman is such a big nuisance where
Yeah.
you have to make that big decision once, okay, do I go for him or not?
Yes.
Because for someone like Chupa, if Chupa goes for Huntsman early, it could pay off. He might just nuke him in 1 or 2 turns. But Huntsman might also just like defend for once upon, deal you 3 damage, and then slap you with 2 6s. And then you're basically already lost because Red will kill you. Whereas on the other hand, if you don't focus on him, well, you give Red 8 healing, and she might just outlast you. So it's like this very interesting game of like dynamics between your hand and who deals damage to what at which time, where both players have the full control over what their game plan is, and every single game plan is valid. Right? You can go for Huntsman early as Trooper. You can try to rush down red. You can try to play slow and value because you have a lot of healing. On the red side, you can try to hide behind Huntsman and just live a long time, just make him deal damage and then finish Trooper off. You can try to send in red early and protect Huntsman just to heal back up later. It's a lot of things that you can think about. And basically
Yeah.
every plan you can think of is viable. And that's what I really love
Yeah.
about it. Because both fighters
yeah.
have that counterplay into each other where Chupa has something like more they struggle into your mouth or ambush into your once upon, whereas you as red, of course, have ignores, you have a lot of auto, you have random discard, you have so many things on both ends where it becomes a really interesting game of, okay, who plan meets what, right? If
Yeah.
Chupa just goes for the, okay, I rush down red plan, red's plan will usually shift to, okay, I hide behind Huntsman and wait a bit, let him either deal damage to threaten Chupa away, or just
Yeah.
run away myself, just to get the healing. Whereas if Chupa goes for Huntsman, red will usually be the one, okay, I just go in his face and slap him, right, to make him scared and to protect Huntsman that way. So it's like, it's one of the most fun matchups I've ever played, and I'll love it for the end.
So
That's
that's actually good because we usually like in some matchups, right? What we usually say, it depends. It depends on what you do. You don't have a specific game plan for it. It really depends on the game state. So as you described that Little Red versus Chupacabra, it really depends on what each player's cards are,
And,
depending on the game state, right? So it's not as easy as just going aggro or just go to
Yeah.
Huntsman. It really depends, right? So yeah, I can see how it's even.
Yeah.
Nice.
it all boils down to what Karma said earlier. You should have a plan
Yeah,
on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
on your game
but you also be able to switch that plan up,
to
right?
adapt. Yeah, yeah,
During the game, which
yeah.
is which
Yes.
is yeah, which is the difficult part.
Yeah.
Okay, I can go next. I have the losing matchup. This is probably going to be brief. This is against T-Rex.
So,
Boo! Boo from
boo.
Karma.
I
so,
mean,
so
I would say it's that bad.
it's not that, but it's still bad. I think because
I saw
as we
that.
further
I
wrap
saw a
up,
matchup
yeah,
of that. Yeah.
I shout out to RJ. So as we discussed earlier, right? So Little Red sometimes crumble under pressure because you don't get to activate the symbols in order that you want. So with T-Rex, because T-Rex can just attack and attack over and over, and Little Red only has 2 cancels, and she usually doesn't care about the auto damage because you will out damage Red when you keep on attacking. Because what's the max defense of Red? 4. You have 4 copies of the basket, but the other defenses you have, they're just
Three.
twos. Threes, the cancel. That's the cancel, which is your best defense against T-Rex. But yeah, again, 2 copies. So I think you can even ignore Huntsman here. You can just go straight to red. Just reduce her HP down to 0 very quickly because she has 14. You also have a lot of auto damages with Reckless Lunge and Thrash. So that 14 is nothing. And with your constant aggression, even Red's auto damage or maybe even the draws would not trigger because that's
Mm.
really how Red will crumble. if you just keep on aggressing, go attack every turn. And even if red or huntsman take some turns to attack to pressure T-Rex, with the end of turn draw of T-Rex can just fight back immediately.
Yeah.
So I think it's really a hard matchup. It's not like impossible, but it's really hard with that amount of pressure, especially on
Try it.
small
Yeah.
maps.
Try it on Sanctum.
Sanctum, yeah. Shout out again,
Yeah.
RJ.
He
Don't try
so
T-Rex
he tried
versus
to
red on
prove
Sanctum.
Red can do it on Sanctum against T-Rex. Then yeah, it was a fast match to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. For the next matchup, I'll take the even matchup also. It will be Little Red against GB. I mean, on paper, I think Little Red should have like decent amount of auto damage to kill GB. But yeah, I think GB just runs on this matchup and try to outvalue you with the I beams against Huntsman since he doesn't have a cancel and like destroys the symbols. When you try to attack Little Red with a pelt on the top, you just try to bait it with a punch or like some low value attacks. Just be as a GB player, you just need to be wary on the symbols, and I think you're fine with that. You're not gonna go aggro against Little Red, but you can run away. You can run away from both of them and just go kill Huntsman, and then you're good to go. But yeah, if it's small map, also Little Red has a chance because of the sixes that Huntsman can throw, the auto damage. Like if you think about it, the Once Upon a Time, Never Leave the Path, and what big guys you have, you already have 16 damage and you only have to look for the other 2 damage. Yeah, so I think it's an even matchup. I think it boils down on map, on whether the map is either big or small. So yeah, that's the even matchup. Yeah. And lastly for Patrick,
I get the winning matchup this time. So it's Little Red versus Jill Trent. So for me, we all know that Daisy doesn't have any cancel. So with the threat of Huntsman's sixes, he can kill Daisy as early as possible. So Jill doesn't get to trigger her helpful assistant. So we know that Jill's usual game plan is to trigger helpful assistant to recur cards and gain value out of that. Daisy also don't have any cancels offensively. So if you can defend with Once Upon a Time, the 3 damage will trigger to Daisy. So with the 6 HP of Daisy, it's already easy to be killed. Then, as I said, Jill doesn't have any offensive cancel, so Stones in the Belly will also trigger. So if Jill will be discarded the helpful assistant, so it will be an easier time for Red to win the game.
okay, let's ask Karma if he has any takes on our matchup picks or if he thinks is it a
We were
good
wrong.
it's a good take. Yeah, yeah. If we were wrong, tell us.
I mean, I wouldn't say you're particularly wrong. I would like to point out like a couple of interactions that really like defy those matchups in like
Yeah.
either one of the sides. In the Rex matchup, I feel like the key card has to be Ripples. Because as red, you always try to plan ahead your turns and always have like
yeah.
some kind of option for action gains because T-Rex will action gain at some point.
Yeah.
And Ripples just kind of nukes your plan.
Yep.
Because Rex just places herself somewhere next to you, you discard a random card, and then you might be screwed. Like interactions with Ripples or like trying to plan around it or position around it is like the most important thing. I think if you can do that, you have a decent shot in the matchup, especially if T-Rex picks map and you're going first. So you start with 7 cards into her 5, and that's really great. Because usually you can position in a way where Huntsman at least is in the way at some point and forces either bigger boosts or attacks on him, and thus you can survive. And at some point you can actually also try to counter-aggress Rex by drawing 3 with Path, but because you don't have the time to deal the 2 auto as a pass, you don't play Fatigue against T-Rex. I feel like it all just resolves around Ripples when it's played, how it's played, into what it's played. For the G-Bat matchup, I'd say you probably summed it up quite well. The main thing I've always noticed when I struggle as red in that matchup is however, when G-Bat actually tries to hit me. G-Bat does a lot of damage when he's just alpine cycling and just hitting me hard. And as you already said before, Red's defenses aren't that big. So my problem often is that it can become a damage race where he just can slap me almost every turn with +2 with something, and I have to find the right cards with the right symbols matching to kill him. So in that case, having Huntsman in the way is also very important again, because usually when GBet runs away, GBet's stack is very, very inconsistent due to his defenses being very one-sided. He only has 2 cancels and like a lot of very bad cards. So if
Yeah.
he's just running away, usually by just not mind gaming at all and just throwing the biggest thing you have at each time, you will usually win as red. It's the times when GBet actually goes for you and says, okay, come hit me. I can roar and then hit you twice but +2.
Nice.
Hit me. That's the times when I really felt scared in the matchup. But even then, it's still fine. Whereas with the Jill matchup, you already pointed out, yep, it's Daisy can't cancel.
Yeah.
And that's huge because, yeah, Jill also can cancel offensively. So, yeah, defensive once upon is a menace,
Yep.
especially against Jill because Jill, of course, usually wants to attack with a lower printed value. So having a lot of print 2s actually helps you a lot in the matchup. One thing to point out to kill Daisy early is ice is guaranteed.
Yes.
If you somehow defend
Yeah.
with a once upon once into Daisy, she takes 3, you can maneuver and kill her with ice instantly.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Daisy can just die in 1 turn. That's of course big. But the big caveat in the matchup, and what I've seen usually, what Jill players can often do to make it at least some kind of close, is they keep Huntsman around. Reason being, Huntsman can only defend for print 2s. So the healing is almost always guaranteed.
Mm, yeah.
Almost always. And since you're not really afraid of Huntsman 6s, because you have an insane amount of answers to that. You have so many print 5s, you have stasis, you have cancels. You're not really afraid of them. They will usually only do 1 damage. Just keeping him around is fine, because as long as Daisy can chill back, you as Jill will usually heal against Huntsman. Almost always. It's still very bad because, as we said, Jill only has 2 cancels, and both of them are defense only. So in the case where you try to keep Daisy safe, Red just might switch her plan and full nuke Jill in like 3 turns. That can happen. And then Daisy is forced to approach because Jill is way too low to actually engage herself. So yeah, I'd definitely say it is a Red favorite matchup. Like
Yeah.
the main things are those interactions that guarantee you the auto damage.
Okay, since we already have here the Little Red Master, let's ask him also the best map. What do you think is the best map for Red? You can give us at least 2 or 3?
I'd say the number 1 best map by far would have to be Azuchi.
Okay.
Azuchi
Really?
is such an insanely good map for Red for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's move 4, which is quite nice for you because a lot of times once Huntsman is dead, Red will be the one approaching.
Yep.
And since you don't really want to boost with your 3 boosts, because they're usually all quite valuable to you, hands, baskets, you don't want that. Okay, when Huntsman is dead, the healing works, sure. But just like having the move 4 map to be able to reach is quite nice. But the main thing is the corridors on the edges of the map. Body blocking on Azuchi is a nightmare
Yes.
for any solo fighters.
Yeah.
What that means in practice is usually as Red you have a plan of either, okay, I send Huntsman in her early to deal like the most amount of damage possible, and I just have to keep Red safe. Or I keep Huntsman safe and just put Red in the way. And there's like almost no map that enables this as much as Azuchi. Because you can always kind of keep the one safe that you want, right? If they don't have any like move through effects on schemes, you will basically always decide who gets attacked. And that's
Yeah.
insanely big for a character like Little Red, who is like full value resolves around, okay, when do I get to play what card with what character?
Mm.
And that's very important for you. I'd say the next best maps is quite tricky, but I very much like Globe with Red.
Okay. Okay.
I've seen people call it bad because of the single zones, because you don't get
Yes.
the path auto damage.
Yeah.
But like that will, the opponent will only really be there in times when they retreat. And that's like when they run away because you have a hand advantage or they're already low. And that's like, at that point, you don't really go for path anyways. Because you're probably the one who's pushing the tempo, you're the one setting their health low, you just go in and hit them. Usually, Red is really good in making the opponents forced to interact with her. Because if we just play the long game and we just wait, Red has an insane amount of passes with heals, recurring
Yeah.
heals, and paths. So you will usually get the 2 paths out in the game anyways. And the one thing about Globe, again, is body blocking. It's so good for body blocking. It's insane. That central spot in the middle, the dual zone that kind of connects everything.
Yeah.
Putting either Red or Huntsman there locks half of the board.
Yes.
Yeah, so similar to Azuchi.
Yes. And you see this reoccurrence here with maps that Red really likes. I wouldn't say that that she has like any maps that she doesn't like. I'd say Red is like a very flexible fighter in that. But Yeah, those type of maps where you can force the opponent to engage with the fighter you want them to engage with are the best ones by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's wrap this thing up with Little Red. I think we can conclude that Little Red is one of the most, I would say, interesting fighters because of his mini games of matching the symbols. And Little Red is one of the most versatile fighters in the game because of how she can pivot from different types of games depending on the game state. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Patrick?
Okay. Let's go to our current and recent events. So, Russell?
Yeah. So last April 11, we had the Roadshow Ultimate. So the winners for that tournament, it's a team battle. It's Bloodtear, Carl, Leg Tama, Leonard, and Parzival. Congrats.
Congratulations, guys.
Let's proceed with another weekly event, the Manila Unmatched Sundays, headed by one of our listeners, Sir Leonard. Okay, this one was won by our very own Russell. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
thank you for promoting us, Sir Leonard. Okay.
For the next tournament, which was held last April 19, the week after where Russell won. They had Stars and Stripes as the prize.
Oh,
So Demati or Aldrich won that tournament. So congratulations to him.
congrats.
Yeah, and up next we also, and actually it's on the same day, April
Yeah.
19, BJ Mayalamos, we had another Stars and Stripes
Yes.
prize for the tournament, and the winner is none other than Ace.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
For our next event, we had the T-Rex prize at Guijo. So if you don't know, guys, this the T-Rex prize is usually one of the hottest
Yeah.
prize here in the Philippines. So watch out. So if there's ever a T-Rex prize, you should go and show your skills and try to dominate. Yeah. Congrats to the winners and also
Yeah.
congrats to the organizers.
Then we'll just mention as well running tournaments. So every Wednesday on Gaming Library. So they have a tournament there. Yeah.
It's one of the qualifiers. Well, when
Yes,
you
yes.
got for the Asia Championships, so just join the
If you wanna
weeklies,
see,
and then we have the ongoing Spring of Myths, which is the
yeah.
first ever major from Restoration Games.
Yes.
So
Nice.
follow the Discord for that tournament.
The
Yeah, for
updates, yeah.
updates.
And finally, we usual the usual weekly casual from different local gaming stores such as Ludo, Play Cafe,
The
and
office.
The Office.
Yeah.
So if you want to play and spar against different players and try some different lineups and matchups, I suggest you join this different weekly casual so that you not only gain experience but also meet a lot of people and new people. Yeah.
We'll give the floor to you, Karma. Final words from you.
I would encourage any newer player or anyone who's like played Unmatched a bit more just to like dive back into Red because she will deepen your understanding of the game at any time because you'll always have different options to think about and just thinking about them will make you better. And outside of that, I'd of course love if you check out my YouTube because yeah, I might not be as reliable and consistent as Red is with uploading videos, but I have some very interesting stuff coming up.
Wow.
One being the revival of basically matchup of the month to
Oh,
this,
yes,
Nice.
let's go.
montage that we already talked about a lot. And also basically almost finished on the RAF Strategy Sunday, so it will either come out tomorrow or next week. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be it. If you happen to not be on the UM League Discord, please join it. Join me for
Yes.
some fun games. As you see, I'm a pretty chill dude. These guys here are as well. I can definitely agree to that. So just join us for a fun time.
Mhm.
And yeah, we'll be around for you.
Okay, so thank you, Karma, for joining us for this episode. It was a very wonderful treat for us, and it's a very insightful episode as well. You are very famous for the Filipino community.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, from your tier lists. So now they have heard your voice with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so that's it, guys, for our episode this week. So once again, I'm Pat.
Ace.
I'm Russell.
And I'm Karma.
And remember, hashtag
Red OP.
Red OP.
Yeah,
Don't forget my tree. Don't forget my tree.
Legend 2.
Legend OP2.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Oh my, thank you so much, Karma.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karma.